Hello, it's Isaac from Powered by Rock here to speak to Andrew Patrick from the Atlanta-based indie punk band, the Carolyn. He has put together 2 exclusive acoustic musical performances for us, and I think you'll really enjoy them as they are unique versions of 2 songs from their new album, which just came out in June, titled Rhythm of My Own Decay. Hey, Andrew, thanks for doing this interview.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about this album as a whole. Was there any kind of recurring theme going on with the songs of this album, or do you guys have any kind of mindset when you're, kind of putting this all out there? I mean, you guys kind of have like a, I wouldn't say a dark side, but you're not like writing the super most happiest up-tempo songs necessarily.
Yeah, I mean that's always just going to be a component of our music, I think, because you kind of get through some of those things with writing songs, at least in our case. But I think aside from what we normally write about, this record had vastly more obscure pop culture references in it, and that's something, for whatever reason, I'm really proud of. I really entertained myself with just the random shit we threw in there. So that no one will get at all.
Give me a couple examples, because I don't even know if I recognized them.
So the first one that comes to my head is there's this movie called Her. It had Joaquin Phoenix. Yep. It's a Spike Jonze movie
with Scarlett Johansson as the robot character.
And I'm no big city film critic or anything. Maybe that's a very forgettable movie. I have no idea. But I was on a plane the first time I saw it, and her closing monologue in that movie, and maybe it had something to do with where I was at in my life, but when she's breaking up with him, basically saying like they're canceling the OSs, it is like the most gut-wrenching monologue for me that I've ever heard. And I'm just on this plane with a bunch of other people just crying. Like as I was watching the scene.
Like, don't go.
Yeah, exactly. So I, to some degree, the reference or the song that is referenced in it, like there's some overlap between that movie and this song called Casi Infinito. And instead of like trying to figure out how to get her audio in the song and in a way that made sense and all that stuff that is way over my head, Ollie is actually fluent in Spanish, and I just said, hey man, read what we did was we had him read the entire monologue in Spanish, and we just picked the stuff that phonetically sounded the coolest to us, and we just pasted it in random places. So we kind of put that at the end of the song in a format that you can't really hear. So yeah, unless you speak fluent Spanish and you know that movie really well, you'll get it. But if you don't check either box, then that'll
awesome. Nice little Easter egg for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff in this record.
Very cool. So just in general, like who's writing the songs for the most part on this album? Are you guys splitting that duty, or how's that going?
I mean, I think I don't even really think of those kind of terms. It's just like whatever works. I think with a lot of like 3 pieces that have 2 songwriters, it's a very like siloed process. Like, okay, Mark has his songs and Tom has his songs as an example or whatever. And then they show up and make everybody do what they want. And for years, that's kind of how it was. But while there are songs like that you just kind of write by yourself and you're like, I'm really proud of it, and this is what we're going with, I think there was a lot more of, I wrote something, but I don't like the way I'm singing it, so you're going to sing this, and vice versa. And there's a ton of lyric related stuff that I just couldn't finish on my own, that I had Ollie finish, or vice versa. And a lot of writing for each other, and a lot of songs that have like kind of dual vocals on them that we hadn't really done before.
Yeah, I assume that's how you kind of went about the singing decisions for each song too, is like whoever just was the best fit for that song.
Right.
You guys just chose that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I can tell you, when you write by yourself, like, COVID, I think, was a good example, and all these people started to release these solo albums because they're by themselves or whatever. And you're like, this is so much more depressing than the stuff that you normally put out, because it's like you're just in your own bubble and you're not playing in front of guys or, the rest of the band to like get that energy from. So it's like so much more heavy or in a dark place. And it's like, if you just bubble yourself and write alone, it's not as fun as when you actually get the band involved and play these songs out, or maybe play something together and then write the lyrics to that later. I think that was always my favorite thing, is when I've found now as an adult, it's so much harder to write music on my own than to actually play and be in a band or something like that.
Absolutely. When you're working with a team, I mean, granted, like group projects can suck sometimes. I mean, they can be they have their drawbacks, but what I found is if you're working with another songwriter in quotes, none of us are paying our mortgages writing these songs. We're just having fun. But they can kind of constitute as a launch pad. So
Yeah.
for 99, Ollie had, the lyrics and melody, but I really was not digging the chords at all. And I'm like, okay, dude, this is what it needs to be, and this is your structure. Your whole song is your chorus. Like, so just whatever chorus idea you had is no longer happening. I'm just telling you that now. And we can be that blunt with each other and not take it too personally. And he'll do the same stuff for my songs as well. Like I think we would both agree that for the majority of the song, he was a better fit for Webb's. And even though I wrote most of it melodically, I had him sing a large portion of the song just because I thought it fit better.
Yeah, and I think when you say, talking about 99 Problems, you got the chorus basically is the first line, and then it repeats again later on. And that is, as we were talking about in our other interview, a very anthemic way to start a song. You want to get people involved right away. You sing the chorus right up front. So that way, when it comes around again, they'll know exactly what you're going to sing or a very similar line to that. And I think when you do that, it brings the energy right off the bat, right? So instead of like the average formula is like little intro, verse, maybe a break, and then some sort of bridge, and then another verse, then a chorus, then a verse, then a chorus, then a verse, then a chorus till the end, something like that. But if you take all that structure and you just boil it down to what people really want to hear, or what maybe is the best part of a song, it's usually people want to hear the chorus as much as possible. And usually when a song starts with the chorus, it's much more anthemic like that.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head again. That was my thinking with it, and I think initially it tried to build and build and build and build it, and I was like, dude, you're already there. Like, I could never write. That's great. Like, just stick with this idea and don't veer away from it. And he's literally the best person on earth. So he's like, yeah, that's cool, man. Whatever, I'll do it. Whatever. No egos in this band.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first song off the album, the Apiarist. It's like a weird word to say, but
very much
which
so.
You are going to be doing a performance of right after this, or right after, we'll throw it to you here in a second. But can you explain what's going on in the song? As I believe you said, it's about your friend Nathan. Is he a beekeeper? Is that why it's called the Apiarist?
In the metaphorical sense, yes.
Okay.
So this explanation is about to get real fart sniffy. So he ran a house venue called the Beehive. And speaking of just the best dudes, he's definitely one of them. Like, he really, really takes care of bands and is super nice, and always gave us a place to stay when we would play his side of town. So it's kind of like the bands are the bees. He's the beekeeper. And it's just kind of about like being in a touring band, and sometimes you feel like it's not really going anywhere, but you meet the friends you'll have for life along the way. So
very cool. All right, so obviously talking about the Apiarist, let's have a listen to it right now, and we'll come back to talk more about the next song, Munchausen by Praxis. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the Apiarist by Andrew of the Carolyn.
I'm Andrew from the Carolyn, and this song is called The Apiarist, and it's about my buddy Nathan. Nathan, can I sleep on your floor? You know I don't have any money. Take this, I swear I'm good for more. No, I never saw this coming. We lie awake, haunt the walls on bends a drink. A price we pay for past mistakes. Shaking songs and borrowed chords, forcing something out of nothing. I hate this, wish that I did before. Your thoughts that burn in my bloodstream. Sighing in vain every night in the hallway. Our gold won't stay, what a shame. Nathan, can sleep
All right. Very cool. Great performance, by the way. I told you, I think it adds a very unique, perspective and voice to that song because, like, obviously, just even introing it with "This is about my buddy Nathan," that's what got me thinking, like, what the hell is the song actually about? Is he a beekeeper? Like,
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, very cool. And I think obviously, if you ever do release a full album of acoustics or something like that, you can definitely throw that one in the mix there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So let's talk about the next song, which is actually the next song off the album and the next song that you're going to perform for us. It's called Munchausen by Praxis, which for those who can't use Google to understand that praxis means in practice. Can you explain what's going on in the song, as it's a bit vague about some of the details, but you get the sense it's about a relationship that's not healthy. Can you elaborate? And I know we talked about this a little bit in our other interview, but just to kind of set the scene for this performance.
Yeah, that's, at the very least, that's largely what the chorus is about. I wish I could, speak a little bit more to the verses. I kind of let Ollie kind of take the reins on that, but it's kind of just about, if I was a betting man, just a dysfunctional relationship and just being dysfunctional in general. And the title may or may not have any connection to that. That's kind of up for the listener's interpretation. So yeah.
Could have come up from thin air. It could be actually on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. It's up to you. It's a choose your own adventure song.
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the weirdest song titles, and most of them don't have anything to do with anything. So sometimes it's related, sometimes it's not, but it's always, a good way to get somebody thinking about the art in general and just talking about it anyway.
Exactly. We name it what we did for questions like these.
Yeah, very cool. So I think that any fan of punk or indie or even emo will really like this album a lot. And there's so many good songs. It's 8 songs. What is it? About 16, 17 minutes long in total. It's not like it's going to take your whole day. Go out there and listen to it. Get it on Spotify. Go out and buy an album. We're going to end this performance or end an interview with the performance of Munchausen by Praxis today. But before we go, please let fans know what's coming for the Carolyn.
As we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, we are touring Germany specifically in about 5-ish days, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun, playing some cool festivals over there. We are playing Fest 20 this year, and we'll just be touring on the record until this year is over. So check out Rhythm of My Own Decay if you haven't already.
Very cool. All right, thank you, Andrew, for your time today. And once again, here's the Carolyn performing Munchausen by Praxis acoustically.
Thanks.
This is Andrew from the Carolyn, and this song is called Munchausen by Praxis.
Uncertainty and sweat, still out of reach and out of sight. This overwhelming sense of crisis holds me like a drug. If you're a match, I'm dousing gasoline in the air where nothing more than an arsonist's wet dream. Passing glance, I'm sweating with anticipation. This overwhelming sense of crisis holds me like a drug. Through a match, I'm dousing gasoline in the air where nothing more than an arsonist